All right, it's Thursday morning sometime, and I just want to go over homework 2 and quiz 2 so we can all get started this semester doing things correctly. Um, Recording from my kid's room, so she's away at college. Hopefully, she stays there or gets a job and doesn't come home. But I'll use Harry Potter maybe sometimes for inspiration to answer some of our questions. So here on homework 2, this first one, this is a production possibility curve where I can produce steel or I can produce wheat. And there's, again, scarcity, so I have to can only produce a limited amount of one or the other. It's kind of like that homework one had that question about going to the movies or spending money on CDs. So here I could spend my money on wheat or steel or a combination of the two. Is of course what you usually do. So between points B and C on this production possibility curve, the opportunity costs of the tons of wheat is well. So again, if I wanted to, between B and C, here I can do 40. Again, if I go from C to B, it'd be a difference of 10. This is a very simple question. This is going to be in the midterm. Don't miss this question. People miss it all the time. But between B and C, it's 10 tons of wheat, right? If I shift over from C to B, I'm going to be sacrificing 10 tons of wheat. Check my answer. Oh, yeah, that's a beautiful job. And then the number of steel is basically, then I'm going to be, if I go from C to B or B to C, what's the difference in steel? And then if I can do the math here, and again, these numbers may be different for you, that mine is going to be 90 here, right? It's the difference between this 600 and the 510. All right, very good. So again, this will return itself on the midterm. So I always would pay to print these things out and keep a record of them. It's kind of a simple thing in a way. All right, I'm going next. So interest rates in the ATM trips. So again, ATM trips. So this is also something with opportunity costs. It's going to talk about. So it's mentioned it twice, so it must be important to me. So if I were you, I would look up opportunity costs. And this is in the future if you see these terms a couple times in a row. I look at opportunity cost in my index here, and it says it's on page 110. So then if I go to page 110 in the textbook, here's the principle of opportunity costs and talking about opportunity costs for entrepreneurs' time, entrepreneurs' funds. Do I want to start my own business up and spend my money and spend my time or keep in my job? So it's one of these choice questions again, and you have to compare the costs of the two. So in this question, Mark lives in a country where there's a high interest rates, so he goes to the ATM all the time and gets a small amount of money because he wants to keep his money in the bank where it can make a lot of money. It's because it's a high interest rate. Where John has low interest rates, so he just goes once a month, doesn't really make a difference to him. So basically, who's up here? And again, the names may change on yours. Mark, right? Mark's opportunity cost of holding cash is higher, right? On this one. So let me check my answer. Oh, beautiful. And it gives you a little explanation too. Um, Next, a taxi company. This currently has 9 cabs in its fleet, and its total daily cost is 4,800, right? So they got 9 cabs. If they add a 10th cab, and again, this is looking marginally, if I add an extra unit of production, right, one more cab, the company's total daily cost will be increased to 4,950. So that's $150, right? Extra cost. But the revenue will increase by 200 a day. So yeah, they should add a 10th cab, right? This isn't rocket science here. They'll make more in revenue than it costs them to add an extra one. Again, looking at the margins is what they're honing in here for. Should I check my answer? Because I do like the feedback. Oh yeah, nice work. Next, then again here, more with marginally, right? So again, the margin principle, I would look at this in the textbook too. Molly's got an espresso shop, right? Poor Ted's the worker, all right? If Ted works more, Molly can sell more espressos. So the price of espressos is $2 an espresso, and Ted's hourly wage is 11, right? So here's 11, 11, 11 for his hourly wages. So if Ted works 1 hour, there's 30 more espressos sold, right? So 2 times 30, because each espresso was $2, is $60, right? that's really good because we're only paying Ted $11. So this first one, this has got to be 11 over here because you get the same wages over here. But now I'm looking at between, again, 3 and 4 hours. So here, Ted works between 3 and 4 hours. She can make what? The difference between 172 and 184 is 12, right? He can sell 12 more espressos. So 12 times 2, because each espresso costs $2, would be 24, right? Hopefully my math is correct. It would be really embarrassing if it wasn't. So I'm going to check my results. Yeah, of course I got it right. So if Molly applies the marginal principle, how many hours should Ted work? Because if you see here, if he worked, again, 6 hours, he would only sell basically 3 more espressos and make $6 for Molly, but his cost of having Ted work is $11. So 5 hours is where Ted is still productive. Let me check my answer. Yes, that's perfect. And again, talking about marginal cost and marginal benefit or marginal revenue. All right. Let's go on to the next one. So again, the real value of minimum wage. Again, real, if you look at the real value, you're counting inflation, how prices change. So here's the minimum wage in what, 1974, it was $2. This is when I was in high school, and yeah, I remember I had a job for $2.35 an hour, and I thought I was really doing well. The minimum wage in 2011 was $7.25, and I believe this is the federal, yes, the federal minimum wage. It can change by states and by cities. Seattle right now has the highest minimum wage. I think it's around $15 an hour. Those liberals out there in Seattle. So the weekly income, $80 in 74, $290 in 2011. But again, so again, the nominal value has gone up, right, from $2 to $7.25 an hour. But what's the real value? Look at inflation. So then you look at the cost of the standard basket of goods. We're going to talk about this later in the semester. $47 it cost for a basket of goods in 2011 is $2.25. So basically, you're making less money in 2011 because you can only buy 1.29 the number of baskets per week compared to you could do 1.70 in 1974. So the minimum wage is not better off. No. Boy, that was an exclamation for a simple thing. Yeah, great. Love it. Next, considering this will be in the midterm. Don't get this wrong. This is such an easy one. Considering the choice to attend college, right? What's the trade-off? What's the opportunity cost, or what is not an opportunity cost, right? You got to spend money on tuition, right? If you didn't go to college, you wouldn't spend money on tuition. So that is an opportunity cost, right? The money you've worked over 4 years of working. You didn't go to college and you kept your job, right? That's a trade-off. That's an opportunity cost, right? The money spent on food and living, you got to eat and live anyway, so this is not an opportunity cost, right? You would do that anyway. The money spent on books, again, this is a choice you make by going to college. So there's no, basically, you spend this, you have to eat and live if you do either. Hopefully that makes sense. But this will repeat itself. All right, I'm done ranting and raving. It's old students, those older students that missed this drive me crazy. All decisions and trade-offs associated with them embody an opportunity cost because of, and again, look for the word scarcity, right? There's limited resources. There's unlimited wants and limited resources, or scarcity. Next, am I done with this thing yet? Suppose not yet. It's so much fun though. Surprised that the stricter admission standards would reduce healthcare costs by $60 million, right? And again, this is what happened in the 1970s when there used to be lead in gasolines, and lead is one of the most toxic things there is. So it really was a toll on the health cost of the country. So the minimum standard is $60 million, but it's going to save healthcare costs by $60 million, but it's going to cost $40 million, right? Should you tighten standards? Yes, right? Unless you have stock in a car company, because then it may hurt your bottom line. But but for society, yes, we should. All right. Next, here's a graph. I love my graphs. how to drive fast. Oh, this is a silly question, but let's do it together. Duke is driving to a nearby town to attend a dance party and must decide how fast to drive. The marginal benefit of the speed is extra dance time. Well, for some people it wouldn't be a marginal benefit, but for Duke it is. He will get by driving faster, and the marginal cost is the additional risk of a collision. Marginal benefit is negatively sloped, right? And marginal cost curve is positively sloped. So use the line drawing tool twice. So we're going to do the marginal benefit curve, which is negative, and the marginal cost, which is positive, going up. So that both lines suggest Duke will drive at 40 miles an hour. So where marginal benefit equals marginal cost. So I'm going to draw my line. First, I'm going to do my marginal benefit curve, which is negative sloping, right? It says. So I'm going to, I don't know, let's start here at 80 and go down to 80. And then I click twice, and then I'm going to label this. This is, again, my -1, which is the marginal benefit. And then marginal cost, and again, I want to make sure that 40 is the intersection, because this is what he should be driving. And then I'm going to use what? And then use number 2. Use the point drawing tool to plot and label the equilibrium point where they meet. So this is what he should be driving, right? He gets the most dances, but the combination of dance time and worst case collision thing. So this is my equilibrium. Let me check my answer. Yeah, brilliant. I'm so smart. Let's go. I think that's it. All right, so this is that homework 2. Let me do the quiz 2, which is a lot of similarities. Maybe something new. Let's hope there's something new. Let me go to my assignment manager. And then you can see these are assigned. What do these things do? February 1st. So get them done by February 1st because they're going to disappear. Let me edit this. Quiz 2. Let me work the problem as a student. All right, so hey, here's this taxi company again, right? So let me just check the numbers, right? 56,000, right? They had a 10th cab. The cost will $50, but they get $100. Yeah, they should add 1, right? Yes. Next, standard admissions, right? $60 million, but the cost is when they should do it. Yes, they should do it. Zooming through these ones. A firm is subject to diminishing marginal returns. Oh, this would be a good one actually to look up in the textbook. Well, I look it up, I haven't got time. But basically, diminishing marginal returns is, we have a small room like our classroom size, and we're manufacturing sweaters. So we have, 20 people in there manufacturing sweaters. And then we want to increase production. Maybe we could put in 5 more workers, and boom, it would increase production. If we put in 20 more workers, we would still increase production, but at a smaller rate because people are bumping into each other and things aren't as efficient as they used to be. So this is, the diminishing marginal returns. It's like you studying, right? If you study for a test and you study for the first 2 hours, you're probably learning a lot and restoring a lot of, remembering a lot of information. If you study for then up to this, like the 5th, the 6th hour, you're not retaining as much because it's you're tired, but you're still retaining some. So you're increasing the number of workers, decreases the quantity produced. It doesn't decrease the quantity produced. It basically decreases the increase we have. But we'll talk about this one in class. So I'm going to read it again, make sure I get this right. If a firm is at diminishing marginal returns, an increase in the number of workers decreases the quantity produced. Yeah, that's false. It still increases it, but at a lower rate. But again, you can always look up diminishing marginal returns in the textbook. Would be a good one. Yeah, great, 100%. Next. And again, here's this production possibility curve, right? So again, between B and C of wheats and steels is the same numbers? Yeah, because basically it's, again, maybe different. You're 10 tons of wheat. So if I go from B to C, from 50 to 40 is 10. And if I go between B and C, what's the, again, opportunity cost of steel, that's 90 if I can do the math, right? Between 600 and 510. Perfect. Next. Oh, here's the interest rate again. Carlos lives with high interest rates. So Carlos has his opportunity cost of high in cash is higher. Check answer. Yeah, great. I'm losing my voice, so I gotta hurry along here. Consider attending college. Again, yeah, money spent on food and living is not an opportunity cost. Next. All decisions and trade-offs associated with them embody an opportunity cost because, again, scarcity. I always look for the word scarcity for these particular questions. Again, it doesn't hurt to look up scarcity in the textbook too. Oh, it's the same sort of thing, right? An average heir in 1990, it's got to be talking about inflation here, was making $1,500 per month. In 2000, the American worker was making $2,600 a month. Wow, what a great raise. But of course, we have to look at inflation, and that's what they look at a basket of necessities, food, housing, increase from 657 to 1,400. Notice this is doubled, right? It went up where my wages did not double. So the real value of income really decreased during that time. Fine. Next. I guess I'm done. All right. Yes, I am. 8 of 8. So we're going to try and take a look at this homework too. Hopefully this is useful for you. But I will see you in class on Tuesday. Have a nice weekend.